This was years ago, but it's not a particularly long one. I was jamming a game of Cthulhu Tech for friends, and if you've never heard of it, well, it's because it's a horribly flawed system and unpopular. But we love the setting and we love the game. The game is set in a war torn cyberpunk future where Lovecraftian monsters, cults, and magic exist alongside mechas, starships, and cybernetics. And at this particular point in the campaign, the party was following leads on a cult hiding out in the now nuclear wasteland that used to be the Amazon rainforest. Now, on the party's way to this wonderful nuclear wasteland, the helicopter they've taken to survey the area is shot down by rockets, and then they crash land in a nearby forest. Now, at this point in the campaign, we've been playing the game for months. But my good friend in the group told me that he had a friend who was interested in joining us, and I thought it'd be easy enough to introduce him, so I allowed him to join. Thankfully, the party survived the helicopter crash, alongside their newest member who takes the place of the nameless helicopter pilot provided to them by their guild. Banged up, dangerously low on supplies and ammunition, but still alive. After, of course, the party salvages what they can from the wreck, the forest is eerily quiet, and an uneasiness fills the air. When in the distance, colossal footsteps are heard cracking the earth, and a low, supernatural hum bellows. The party springs into action, activating defensive abilities and rolling for stealth, trying to gain a better vantage of the unearthly horror that approached them all too quickly. The technical officer's the first unfortunate soul to lay eyes on the towering abomination. A 40-foot tall, hulking mass of tumors, eyeballs, and overgrown roots hobbles through the forest, seeming to be drawn to the site of the crash. Now, the technical officer nearly faints at the sight of it, and whisper yells to the party what he sees. Immediately, the experienced party members do their very best to hide, remain silent, and even avoid so much as looking at the towering monstrosity. Well, everyone does but the new guy, of course. The new guy takes cover, but does not use any of the provided opportunities to hide, despite the advice of the party and the clearly painted circumstances in front of him. Now, as the monster draws near enough, new guy makes no attempt to avoid its gaze. Again, despite the direct advice from the entire party in unison, and very intentionally deterring language made by the GM. Now, I have to add this point for quick context. In Cthulhu Tech, whenever you look at a abomination such as this, you have to roll for either fear, insanity, or both. Now, by the grace of Cthulhu himself, the new guy rolls nearly perfectly, and does not suffer the effects of fear or insanity. To him, the light could not be any brighter shade of green, so he does what any sensible player would do. He draws his 9mm pistol, lets out his fiercest battle cry, and fires into the towering beast's toe. So, secondary side note here. In this system, there are two damage scales, vitality and integrity. Vitality is the scale used between humans and other small monsters. It's your standard run-of-the-mill damage. Now, integrity, on the other hand, is the scale used for colossal Lovecraftian horrors, mechas, and ships. Now, some quick maths. 1 point of integrity health or damage is equal to 50 points of vitality or damage. The strongest human character might have around 80 vitality points, so a single roll of a 2 on the game's many d10s that are rolled would instantly kill virtually anyone in the setting. So Mr. Creepy, Scary, Horrifying Eyeball and Tumor Monster before the party was meant to actually be later fought by a salvage and mech suit that the party will get later down in the sessions. Well, let's go see what new guy's doing shooting it in his toe, of course. Back to our hero with his 9mm pistol and a dream of slaying eldritch monsters. The party was in disbelief at what just transpired, out of game even, asking him what the hell he was doing, and making extra sure that he understood that this was not a game about winning every fight. So new guy, in response, then explained the difference in the damage scales to our entire group in perfect detail, conveying that he knew exactly how the numbers would work in this situation. He then reiterated that his actions were deliberate and informed. Now, as the GM, I gave him one final attempt to salvage the situation by playing on the abomination's low intelligence, and I even pointed out a nice lovely bush within diving distance to where his character was. Unfortunately, this was where David met his Goliath. It was New Guy's turn again, and still, there was ammo in his pistol. He fired 3 more shots right into the monster's toes while blowing any bonus dice that he had. The rest of the party dared not move or give away their hiding locations. Now that it was Eyeball Monster's turn, it lifted one massive foot into the air and just stepped on New Guy. And when it moved its foot, there was no more New Guy. Now, New Guy, after learning that his actions have consequences, just quit the group on the spot. And he never even spoke to the friend that had invited him to the group ever again. And he even talked the meanest shit about us and our game to anyone who would hear it. New Guy would say, "What kind of game is it that you can't even kill the enemies?" Even though, he proved to us that he knew how much health the enemy had and how much damage it could do to him. The part that dumbfounded me was just how well he clearly understood the rules and knew the situation he was in, and yet still chose suicide. The party told him 100 times that he was just committing suicide with extra steps, and I gave him as many chances as I could without just plot armoring him up and having his 9mm pistol kill a 100-foot Eldritch Horror. My bad.